Okay, this video assumes that you've already installed Meals on Disk and that you've set up some of the basic configuration options, and this time we're going to enter in some client details. Once again, the evaluation message, and this brought us straight into the position of creating a new client. As you see up here, new client indicates that it's wanting us to enter some new information. So we'll start at the top and enter in this person's name. We have a drop-down list here to pick their title. The three in the list, Mr., Mrs. and Miss, you can actually type in your own if you like. So let's say this person's a doctor, has been a doctor. He's now retired, but he was a doctor. Gender, also the list, male and female. This doctor is a gentleman, so click male. And his name is Bill Franklin. Okay. Address, pretty normal stuff here. So 67 Turner Road. We have two lines for address here. The second line is not necessary, but if someone has a lot of address information, be it they live in the country, or perhaps they live in a caravan park and there's extra details, but this is basically just their postal address or the delivery address. There's some spots down below to put some delivery instructions, but this is just the address component. And they live in South Melbourne. Which is in Victoria. Now this is also a pull down list of states, but if you type in V, it will come up, that's Victoria, so that's a bit of a shortcut. And no entries in the postcode list. Postcode list will show, in that list it will show a list of the postcodes that have already been entered for previous clients. Because this is the first client, there's obviously none. I don't recall the postcode for South Melbourne, so I'll just make something up. Okay, phone number, also make something up. There's a little flag here to record whether this person has a silent number. This is useful if someone doesn't want their information to be made widely known. It doesn't restrict it in any way in the application, but it just serves as a reminder that this person has a silent number. So if anyone rings up and asks for their phone number or claims to be someone who wants their phone number, just have some extra caution around that. So it's just a reminder. Date of birth. Okay, so this brings up a little calendar. The other thing you could do is just to type it in directly. So say 12th. Oops, sorry. 12th, and then we use the right arrow to move across. Month of March. And they were born in 1922. Okay. The way you would do that in the calendar is when it drops down, these arrows here move you by a month. Not particularly helpful when you're trying to enter in a date of birth. So if you click on the year, you have a little up arrow button, and you can easily go up and down the years, or you can actually enter the year in there. No, you can't. You have to use the arrow keys. And also the months you can choose from a list of months. Once you're in the right month and year, you can click the date with the mouse here, and it comes up there. Same thing for start date, has the drop down calendar, but the start date is the first day they will receive meal deliveries. The reason this is here is you can future date people. So if I know that this person is about to receive meals, but they're not going to receive meals until the first week in November, I can click that date and they will not show up on any of the delivery lists. They will not be charged for any meals until that date. That's the first date they will receive meals. If this person had any special dietary requirements, and in fact he does, he unfortunately he can't eat a lot of solid foods, so you have puree meals. No particular allergies, but you could list them in there. Once again, we're not automatically going to change their meals based on that, but it's some information that can be displayed on reports. So on meal preparation reports, so that people in the kitchen or people in the ordering area, if the meals are being bought in, they can have these notes as to who has what allergies, and therefore what restrictions you have to make in their meals. Delivery instructions, this can be anything really, but could say to go to the back door. It could say that they have savage dog or something like that. In this case, enter back door. An alternate delivery instructions is if the client isn't home or isn't available, what you should do. Leave with neighbour. Which neighbour? Leave at number 69 if not home. Okay. So this fellow will be entitled, he qualifies for a subsidised meal, so we'll check that. He makes payment for his meals in cash every week, so we'll leave that blank. If he were to be invoiced, you would click that, and that would mean it would not list the amount owing on the delivery run, so the deliverers wouldn't ask for any payment. If you invoice all your clients, you would always tick that, so that there's no payment information on delivery run lists. General privacy, this is to comply with the privacy legislation. If the client has asked for all their details to remain private, you click that. Once again, that's just an indication, a reminder that none of this information can be provided to anybody else, any other authorities. MDS privacy is specifically for the MDS reports of what information gets made available to them. In fact, he doesn't really mind about the MDS privacy of providing some stats for MDS, but he doesn't want his personal details to be offered to anyone else, so we'll leave that checked. Okay, so that's basically the information about the client. Now we can enter in the preferences. To do that, we need to click over in this area here to enter in preferences, and when we do, it populates the preferences with the normal preferences that we entered earlier under meal items. So and they've also been added to the first delivery run. So let's just click OK, which that message described that, and you can see one hot meal, one dessert, one orange juice. That was our normal meal because we turned off the soup, if you remember. And down here, they're in the first delivery run, which is Preston, and here's our choices that we entered in earlier for the various delivery runs. Okay. So let's change them and put them in the South Yarra delivery run, kind of close to South Melbourne. And so what it does, once we move out of this field, it will put them at the end of that delivery run. So in this case it doesn't make a big difference because there's only one person in there, but it puts them at the end of that delivery run. If we go back, put them into Q, for example, it says you've changed the delivery run for this client. The client will be added to the end of run 2A South Yarra, and 2B will be resorted to fill in the gaps left. Do you want to continue? Yes, we do. This really works better when we have a large number of clients, and I'll show this later on. But what it does is allows you to very easily move clients around between runs. If we had a whole bunch of other clients here, Dr. Bill Franklin would be right down the very end, and later on I'll show you how you can move them within that run. Okay, we might want to change some of our meal preferences too, because he's receiving the pureed meals, so we really should show that as special. I could go through and make each of those one, but if I do it on his usual meal, that would probably be simpler. But first of all, he doesn't receive meals on Wednesdays, because on Wednesdays he goes to a aged care centre. So click that off and makes all those 0. Now what I'm going to do is hot meals, make that 0, and once I move out, all those across there become 0, and on special make that 1, and I tab out again, and all those are 1. Notice that because Wednesday is blank, no meals on Wednesday, then there's no meal there on special either. So when I entered in the 1 on usual, it only put it in those columns that were ticked. If I tick it again, it puts them all back. Tick it again, and it clears it. Okay. I think we're just about there for Dr. Bill Franklin. And the other thing is, this is exceptions. This is what Dr. Franklin normally receives. If, for example, he was away for a week, be it in the hospital or wherever, if he wasn't needing meals for a period of time, we can set that up in exceptions. Not just not needing meals, but if his preferences were different. For example, let's say he wasn't going to be at the aged care centre on a particular Wednesday. So let's just do that one. So let's pick, he's starting on the 1st of November. So the 25th of November, he's not going to be, it's a Thursday, 24th. He's actually 24th to 24th. He wants to receive meals on that day. So once again, it brings in his usual preferences off the previous screen, and Wednesdays are blank because that's what he usually gets. But in this case, it's not blank. It's going to be ticked. And for some strange reason, he's also decided to have apple juice that day. Okay, so I would save. I can click OK to record that. And what happens then is, although this is well in advance, once this date comes around, he will automatically receive a meal on that day, even though he normally wouldn't because it's a Wednesday. Just something else to explain. The checkbox is now greyed out. It's not ticked, it's not blank, it's greyed out. What that means is he is receiving some meals, but it's not the same as the usual. That's because I changed orange juice to 0 and apple juice to 1. Alright. Let's try something else as well, because because he can't cook for himself, he wants 2 frozen meals on a Friday to carry him through for the weekend. So I'll put that in there. Once again, you can see it's gone greyed out. So that's the end of this video on data entry. There are a few other options available still via the buttons on this form, displaying the account history and the delivery history, entering MDS details for the client, updating the contacts for the client, and for recording other activities, other services that might be provided to the client, which gets reported on the MDS report, and going through and changing people's order in the runs. I'll leave that for you to explore for yourself, and if you have any trouble, please let me know via email, and that may be the topic of a future video. Thanks for your time.